It was a...
Hello and welcome to The One Show with Alex Jones.
And Matt Baker. Well, it's time to dig out the denim.
Yes.
Plug in the air guitar
Come on
and
now.
loosen up the shoulders to get down with tonight's guests.
Oh, lads. It's like you were saying. It's like you were saying. It was almost 10 years ago, that footage.
Have a natural audience like that. That was a good 10 years ago.
Yeah, 10, 12 years ago.
You'd never know. You'd never know. Well, we're so excited to have you here. Matt's been singing your songs all day. But more excited than anybody else is Gloria Hunniford. Yay!
Now, a little bird, Francis, a little bird told us that maybe Gloria had a bit of a thing for you. Is that right?
We had a few moments. We had a few moments once in Ulster.
Yeah, well, Gloria, it won't be long. You'll be on the sofa very shortly.
I am
All right.
panting.
And we'll also be finding out why Status Quo have gone all Fijian on us.
Yeah, look at that. Can't wait to find out all about this, lads. Now,
Doesn't that look lovely?
yeah, before all of that, here's a question
Oh, it's
for
us
you.
two, yeah.
It is you two.
Hey, have you ever heard of a Phoenix company?
Yeah,
Oh, you have?
I have.
Good.
Right.
How?
Well, for you at home, here's Gloria to explain all and to reveal how any one of us could end up losing money through no fault of our own.
Should check out directors to make sure that they haven't been involved. See, they call it the Phoenix company. It's like rising from the ashes. So one company dies, the Phoenix company just rises up.
Yeah.
And so you really have to check, you have to do a lot of homework to make sure that you're trading with a legit company.
And I thought if you went bankrupt, you weren't allowed to have a telephone account or a bank account or anything
That
like that
might
for
be on
2
an
years.
individual basis, but in this case, you're dealing with a limited company.
So the people themselves are supposed to try and check all this stuff out when we think the system's got it done already.
Well, what happens in this case, in any of these cases, and we can use Colin as a good example, it's the small person in the end that suffers because the company goes bust through a legitimate insolvency agency, you know, employed by the company but working on our behalf, allegedly. But what they would say now for Colin, and this is like would apply to anybody, is that you should never give up on it because you have got a few avenues. You should lodge your complaint with the insolvency company that's acting, in this case, for the motorhome company. You should also go to the Financial Services Authority or to the Financial Ombudsman to really fight your case. But again, you have to, as in any of these rip-off schemes, I'm not saying this is necessarily a rip-off, but we call it in our programme a rip-off. In any of them, you've got to have tenacity. You've got to keep at it and keep asking
And what
the
about
questions.
money? If you're working or if you've got the time, it costs people money to
It
do
does.
this, surely.
And in this case, Colin, who can't work at the moment because of dealing with his cancer, he's taken £11,500 out of his pension to buy a motorhome to give his family holidays.
Yeah.
And yet, he is the one now who's out of pocket.
Well, we
And-
wish
and-
Colin all the very best. And we're going to put a lot of links on our website.
On the website.
Somebody
What
down
all
there
the
give him a
details,
clip round the
yes.
ear, wouldn't you?
Well, there you go.
Box his ears, Chuck.
Yeah. That's one way of dealing with it. We might not put any advice on that one on the website. But,
Go and
there
box
you
his ears.
Thank you. Now, the new...
John Remington. Now, John, welcome. Thank you. First of all, when did you start working with Liberace? And secondly, John, where did you get these suits?
Well, he gave me that as a gift for a wedding present. It was made by his costume lady, and she gave through him as a gift, my wife a fur coat.
All right, OK, fair enough. And so was
When
it
did
big?
I start? In
It was big,
1972, 2 to 3, up until 86.
Do you still wear it?
No, I sold it.
Why ever not? Why ever not?
I sold it to a music master at Eton College.
Oh.
That's a good
Fair
reason.
enough.
It regularly.
Giving it credibility, isn't
And
it? Incredible.
Rick, you were saying that your mother was a big fan of Liberace.
Oh, she was, yeah. I mean, we used to have the Liberace show on every Sunday afternoon. It was about 4 o'clock, I think it was. I was only a whippersnapper, but I remember watching it on the black and white Sobel. And she used to go and see him regularly at the Palladium and stuff. And I think he was the first person to come to this country with the waterfall, the coloured
Dancing
waterfall
water.
on stage.
Fantastic.
My mum went and saw
Yeah?
that. She got soaked. Really enjoyed herself. A wonderful thing to do.
Now, John, I'm guessing that you knew that Liberace was gay then. So how was it difficult for you over that period of time to keep it covered up?
I had my suspicions. Yes, it was difficult. I think mainly because he feared, and in those days correctly, that if he either openly came out or it was suggested in the media that he was gay, it would ruin his career.
Didn't he go to massive lengths to try and stop it coming out? Did he?
Well,
Yes,
that's
he did.
right,
married? He
Rick.
got
I mean,
married.
he had a sort of pretend girlfriend, didn't he? At one
Oh,
point?
Debbie Robert. Well, yes, that is true. There she is. And he introduced her midway through one of his Las Vegas performances as the girl I'm mad about. He admitted later to me that she was very feminine, he would make a wonderful wife, and she had said they'd been going out for 6 months, I think.
I wonder what she
As
saw
it
in
so
that.
happened, my story went to the British press first, of course, and worldwide, and it sparked off rumours that he was going to get married. That wasn't the case.
Right.
Right. But you got married in your honeymoon. Did you honeymoon in his house?
Yes, he very kindly loaned us his house in Hollywood. My wife Joyce and I
What
spent
a-
a week there in the company of Gladys.
You enjoyed that, huh? Yeah, it's just like home, look.
It looks quite ostentatious.
Yes,
I mean,
it
is it, or was it?
Just a little bit.
Just a little, no.
But was it, was it quite nice in some ways, or was it a bit gaudy?
Well, he called it he called it the Buckingham Palace of Beverly Hills, and I'm sure the Queen has better taste.
Well, I would hope so.
We leave it there then, shall we?
Very diplomatic.
Brilliant. Thank you, John. And John's book, Liberace, Mr. Showmanship, is out now.
Now, as well as the Liberace film, the other music epic this summer, you know where we're going with this, features Status
say?
Quo, and it's called Bula Quo. What does it mean?
Let's have a look, shall we?
So, come on then, Bula Quo. Bula Quo.
Hello.
What does it mean?
Hello.
Oh, hello, Quo.
Like the Spanish say hola, they say bulla. Everywhere you go. So
In
Be
Fiji.
very careful with that.
Bulla, bulla.
It's a load of bulla.
Ah, bulla, bulla.
Are you making a film then? Or you were out in Fiji to make this? Where did this come from, this idea?
Well, when we did Coronation Street many, many years ago, the stunt coordinator, a guy called Stuart St Paul, taught us to sort of beat Les Battersby up and did the choreography for that and said, we'd like to make a movie with you. So it first came along and it was Care Factor 0 to be shot
Some
in...
kind of Bruce Lee movie or something?
Well,
A bit more that way, more violent
Yeah.
than we ended up, yeah.
And it was going to be shot in Bangkok and we didn't really like it, did we? So,
I love the idea, but I went for you.
So we waited for the new script to come through, and it did, and it was a modicum of humour in it, and shooting it in Fiji, it just sounded great. So off we went and made this
that
caper.
silly sort of English humour kind of thing we do a lot, and it's it appeals to young people. I mean, young people.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
honestly,
We'll take
No,
the
I
compliment.
mean,
Just call us
young
Brad and
people.
Tom now.
Brad and Tom, Brad.
Are you singing a lot in the movie as well then? No?
We've written 9, 10, 11 songs for the album soundtrack.
It's good.
And yeah, there's quite a bit of singing goes on in there, but it's more of a chase, I guess, isn't it?
Yeah, we're
It's
trying to
kind
be
of
chased by this John Lovitch and his crew, he's Wilson, isn't he?
Yeah.
He's a baddie. Actually, when you see John Lovitch on the screen, he is mesmerising in some way, unless we were both taken with him, you know.
Ah.
And he did one of those on the set when you shouldn't, you know.
It's a caper. He did. It's just a caper.
But what happened to your hair, Rick? I
Well,
mean, it's grown back.
I cut a long story short. I had a bit of a rash on my skin a couple of years ago, and I went to my doctor and he said, well, take these steroids because it
Right.
would clear it up. So I took the steroids and my skin was beautiful, but all my hair fell out. Literally, just as I was starting the movie, I was combing my hair like you do,
Yeah.
and it was coming out by the comb line.
And so
I'm
did they
just starting to
script
grow
that
it
in
again.
then to the storyline? I
Sorry,
mean,
Dom.
did they add that into the storyline?
No, not at all. It was just as the movie was going on, my hair was just getting shorter and shorter, and by the end of it, I haven't got any hair. I haven't got it. It's all cut short. It had to,
Kept driving into like a hairdresser.
Oh,
or
it
something,
was
a Fijian
unbelievable.
barbers.
Well, for me, it was such a frightening experience because I've had long hair all my life.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, it's coming out by the comb now. So I'm just trying to grow it back now at my age.
right,
Ridiculous, isn't it?
Looking good.
I
Leave it
loved every
short.
moment, watching it come out day by day. It was
You can
marvellous.
talk.
Huh?
You can talk.
Well, last year it was your 50th anniversary of the band kind of starting out and all that. You all got together for this gig in Wembley. How was that for you?
Very good. It was difficult, I think.
Was it?
But it was seeing the audience, the way the audience took it, for the audience's sake. There were people crying. Whether it was that bad, I don't know what it was, but people we were both taken with the way the audience were taken with seeing us four together again.
Well, people came from all over the world as well. I couldn't believe it, you know, and they're saying, well, this is how Led Zeppelin, you know, when they did that one-off gig, and people were saying the same to us. This is that sort of thing, and...
but your music's been
was
like
incredible.
soundtracks to people's lives, because you've been, I mean, it's like 100 singles or something like that you've released.
Done 100 single, yeah. That's kind of weird, isn't
It
it?
just goes by, you know. It's best not to think about it, really. Me and him never think about it. It's just people come up and give us these stats, don't they?
Somebody was the other day at a gig said, you understand, we stuck with this thing, and somebody took a photograph and it said 100 singles, and we just carried on. And
Really? We had no idea.
And you made this documentary as well to coincide with the 50th anniversary, and you found that you had a few closet fans, one of them being Paul Weller, surprisingly.
Yeah,
How did that come about?
You remember Paul? He made Paul when I was a kid, and I always thought Paul, which to his credit he did in the movie, because Rick was very much instrumental in helping those guys out when they were first learning to play. And I've always kind of held a thing that he never actually admitted to understand why the status quo, but he put it right in the
I gave him an amplifier when he was just starting out, and he's never given it back to me. Where am I?
If you're watching,
Sold it,
Paul.
Never given it back to me.
Wow, gosh. But it is, I mean, it's incredible, because you were saying about your dad there as well. I mean, he was influential for you, wasn't he? Because
Oh, he
started out
was,
and he
very
used to
much
take you
so.
to workmen's clubs. And
Yeah, well, I started in the Working Man's Club when I was very young, and then I joined a thing called the MEA, which is the Metropolitan Entertainers Association, and I went on from there to holiday camps and met Francis and everybody at the holiday camps, and then we teamed up, and here we are. Now that's the shortest I've ever cut that story.
yeah, that's movie 2. That's movie. Anyway, good. Right, on we go. It turns out... What
Raffine's
can't
the
they do?
future.
What can't... It's absolutely incredible, isn't it? Mind-blowing. Thanks, Marty.
Thanks very much to Rick and Francis.
Thank you.
And QUO, the album, is out now, and you can see the film in the cinemas from July the 5th.
Very catchy. Now, on Friday, Sir Tom Jones will be here, and for Father's Day, we are trying to find children of other dads called Tom Jones.
If you think your dad is the best Tom Jones in the world, well, tell us why at theoneshow@bbc.co.uk.
Please do. Now, tomorrow, we're going to be joined by Downton's departed dish. Dan Stevens will be here. We'll see you at 7 o'clock.
Excited.
Thanks again, lads.
Thank
Brilliant.
you.